Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing well. So before starting with this video, I just want to discuss something that is really important for us as aspiring pilots to know. So you must have noticed in the last few months there's a sudden increase in the graph of aircraft accidents and that too Cessnas, aircraft training. God, I'm so sorry for the noise. And that too Cessnas. So what is the reason behind it? Because just two to 3 days back, the aircraft in Pune crashed. Hopefully and fortunately, the trainee pilot is safe. But what is the reason behind it? It was just because of power loss. Okay, but in the case where both the pilots were severely injured and they could not survive the Odisha crash, it was a bit disheartening for all of the aspiring pilots because these situations, these incidents somewhat build a doubt in your heart like, oh, I'm going in the wrong industry or all. But it's not like this, guys. Every situation has pros and cons. Every career has pros and cons of it. You just need to be well aware of the fact that you are capable of handling the aircraft in strong winds in any situation because you're trained for it. 200 hours of flying, I think it's not too less to learn something. And especially that Cessnas and all, these are so, I mean, I haven't flown yet, but honestly, when I feel like this, I think these are very beautiful aircrafts to fly, and they can give their best to you because starting from the basic builds up a lot of good things in you. I'm discussing this because most of you might feel this thing because it's normal, it's human tendency. Yeah, because in the last few months we are experiencing, we are hearing about so many incidents of crashes and all. So this brings a doubt in us that is it safe, the aviation industry is safe or not. But trust me, guys, air transport and aviation industry is considered one of the safest industry in the world. Okay, you just need to have faith in yourself and that confidence that yeah, I can fly any aircraft if I'm trained for it, and I can control it in any situation. Before that, all the training flying schools and all, they should take proper care of the safety of students and the aircraft respectively because in the last few months a lot of aircrafts a lot of flying schools have been given notice by DGCA, and a lot of trainers have already lost their job, their license is suspended. And why shouldn't it? Because you have to take care of the aircraft. Yeah, it is really important. You have to keep it maintained, you have to check it before each and every takeoff. It is really important, and we as trainee pilots would also require to check it 2 to 3 times. We just need to check it thoroughly, go for a flight, land safely, just chill. It's normal, it's okay. Just don't lose hope that I'm going in the wrong direction. I don't think so that I'm going in the wrong direction. You just need to have faith in yourself, and yeah, just be confident. Okay, so coming on to today's video, it's all about the subject air regulations, and the study material is this. I know it's reverse. It is Air Regulations book by R.K. Bali, Group Wing Commander R.K. Bali. Okay, and yeah, you can see its width. I need to say that this is just enough. This is just enough for you to clear your regulations in the first attempt. Trust me, guys. For CPL or for ATPL, this is considered the best book till now. It is recommended by so many pilots who have cleared the papers. As per DGCA's revised syllabus, topic-wise questions and answers included. Sample question papers around 5 to 6 are also there. Also, more than 1100 questions with answers are also there, and it is approved by DGCA. So just buy the new edition, revised edition. I have 13th revised edition 2020. You buy it for 2022 or 23, whatever. Okay, so let's dive in. Okay, so one thing I want to mention, that I told that this book is just enough. I said it enough because it includes some things that are more than extra. Yeah, some things that are more than extra, and you need to mark a lot of things in this book that are not in I mean, I would not say not in course, but there are 0.0 chances, 0.0000 chances that these questions would be asked. So I'll just tell you and just mark a red cross or anything that you want to mark, because these things will not come in exam. Till now they haven't been asked. Okay, so yeah, let's start. I'll go sequence wise. So first is definitions and abbreviations. See, definitions and abbreviations, it's just for reading. Nothing would be asked of like in the technical terms, like what is aerodrome reference point and all. Just read it once and you can understand it. It's a very basic English language, and it's not hard to memorize. Just read it and it would automatically be saved here. So there's no need to learn it. Just leave the first chapter with a cross because it's not for learning, it's just for reading. Okay. Secondly is a important chapter, very important chapter, that is international organizations and conventions. In international organizations and conventions, a lot of dates are there. What you can do, either make a chart kind of, okay, a chart paper, write the conventions, dates, what does, write in brief all the things. Or another way is this, that you can just highlight it in the book, the date, the important what do you call it, important property of the convention, or important protocols that the convention follows. Okay, these two ways could be done, and this is an important chapter. You should revise it 2 to 3 times. So let's go deep inside it. Okay, so in this chapter, along with the dates and the name of the convention, there's something that is articles. These are 42 in number. You don't need to remember all the articles, you just need to remember some important ones. I'll tell you. Nationality of aircraft. There's a topic separately, nationality of aircraft, in which articles 17 to 20 are important. You can mark these. Also along with this, measures to facilitate air navigation. Just read articles from 22 to 28. These are just to be read ones. Nextly, conditions to be fulfilled with respect to aircraft. In this, there's article 29, documents carried in aircraft. This is an important article. You need to remember all the 7 documents that are needed in aircraft all the time. So the next important topic is ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, in which there's one important question that could be asked, because probability is there, that under which convention ICAO was formed. So you know it, that it is under the Chicago Convention. This is a short question. Okay, so we come to a very important topic that is called annexures. See, in meteorology, people don't go too deep inside the subject. The questions are not too difficult, but in regulations, I'll tell you, questions would be too deep inside, and small things would be catched up, which you while reading will not even give a thought that these things could be asked. Some things are like that. Okay, I'll tell you that also. So annexures is one such thing that is based on ICAO standards. In annexures, these are totally 19 number. What you need to do, just the same thing, make a flow chart or write it on a sheet of paper. All the annexures along with the name of the annexure should be here, because there would be direct question that airworthiness of aircraft is included in which of the annexures, or aerodromes is included in which of the annexures. Annexure 17 talks about what. So these questions are direct, and I know these are a lot in number, but we need to memorize it. Similar to this, annexures, we have documents as well. There's one very important document which was asked in my turn as well, and I did it wrong because I didn't study these documents. I thought these are of no use, but document 4444, okay, document 4x4 PANS ATM is a really important document, and it would be a direct question. Document 4444 talks about what. So do remember this one. So along with this, do remember the dates, that is when the Airports Authority of India was formed, on which date and where. Similarly with DGCA and ICAO. Headquarters of ICAO is in which country and all. These things are meant to be memorized. Okay, so moving on to the next chapter, chapter 3, that is the aircraft nationality and registration marks. So when you study these, you'll find certain things written under this, that is Annexure 7, Rules of the Year 1937, Car Section 2. Okay, along with document 4444, Car Section 7 is an important section, so do remember what does it symbolize and all. Okay, and what you can do in just above of these titles of the chapters, just write Annexure 7, Annexure 17 respectively. So whenever you flip pages, you just see it once, and it somewhat sticks here. So that is a good trick. I too practiced it. I wrote all of the annexures name along with this number and all on the chapters. So yeah, just helped me somewhere. In this chapter, you need to memorize the measurements of nationality marks, the 50 to 70 or 50 to 30 centimeter and all. The numbers are of real importance. You need to remember it in your flying as well. Okay. So this is a very small chapter with letters are used for registration mark, combinations that shouldn't be used. This is an important question, that which of the combinations shouldn't be used. So remember these things, the combinations that do not symbolize to some emergency or panic situations. We can write it in all the forms. Okay, so let's come to a very, very important chapter of air regulations, that is the rules of the air, that is the Annexure 2. And in this, trust me, half of the things are very, very important. More than half of the things are really, really important. There's not much to leave in this chapter. Whether it is towing, acrobatic flights, converging, diverging, right of way, every concept is really, really important. Along with this, decision heights and all the altitudes are given, like acrobatic flights could be performed over 2000 feet and all. Just make a bracket and write the heights, because a lot of things are in this chapter to be memorized. So these things, if you try to memorize it just here, I think that would certainly mix up and end up in a blunder. So that's why I just write in a bracket kind of. So whenever you are flipping pages, you're just waiting outside the hall, you can just flip it and continuously look at it. Okay, so there's a table in this chapter which is VMC, visibility and distance from cloud minima. This is not important because in airspace classes this would be talked in detail. So you just leave this table as it is. We'll be covering it in the later chapters. Also, coming to visual flight rules, that is VFR, IFR, VFR and IFR, these topics are of utmost importance. Okay, so what do you need to do? Just write brackets and visibility, height and all. Along with this, you can make a different IFR, fly IFR, like in which conditions you can fly IFR, which conditions you can fly VFR. Again, a chart kind of thing. That would really help you in remembering these things, because these are really important. Okay, so coming to signals, this was my favorite topic because I really like to study these urgency signals and triple L, triple X. I really like these signs. Okay, so in this, procedures for issue of air defense clearance, this is just for reading, just read it, don't memorize it, all the codes and all. Nextly, along with this, we have interception. Again, just read it. Okay, just remember that emergency frequencies 3 are there. In the exam 2 would be given to you, and they would ask that which of these frequencies are not used as emergency frequency. So you must remember that. Coming to phraseology, in phraseology 2-3 tables are given, and how it is pronounced or what is the meaning of these is given. Just read it, don't remember it, because these things are certainly of RT. Okay, so you're not supposed to learn each and everything, just the important calls like Wilco, Mayday, what does it mean? These are some important calls that you need to remember. But even if you don't remember these things, then it's alright, because chances are very less chances are very, very less that all these would be asked. So you can leave it. Okay, so now lighting would be covered in another chapter, but here also we have some things of lighting and pyrotechnic signals. In this, a table is given, that is light aircraft in flight and aircraft on ground. That means the light which is shown, what does it mean if the aircraft is flying or if the aircraft is taxiing or parked on the ground? What does it mean? So this table is really, really important. All the colors, what is it, its different meaning and all. So these tables are really important. Actually, lighting is such a topic that is very important in whole of the subject. So remember lighting charts, signals, any of the things that you study about lighting. Okay, let's come to a very colorful topic, that is the visual ground signals. In these, all the signals are given. Guys, I know these are a lot in number, but these all are important. We have to learn the meaning of each and every signal in this, because direct questions could be there, a signal would be there, whether it could be written as well, a right hand arrow and all, yellow on white, black, something like that, but a diagram could also be given. Coming on to marshalling signals, I know these are 28 plus 4, that is including fire, smoke and all signals, totally 32 in number, and we need to remember it. I'm sorry, but we need to remember all the signals with these were actually these would be given in the written form, not in the figure form, because till now no questions have been there like in diagrammatic form. But do practice these signals in reverse forms as well, like it would not be a direct one, that turn right signal means what, no sentence would be given. Actually, question could be reverse wise, like the second hand is raising up, it is whirling, the lower hand is just doing somewhat waving. So what does it mean? So it could be reverse wise as well, so do remember it in both the ways. Okay, so this is the chapter which has the most number of questions back in the back side. So in these questions I would recommend that just keep this chapter if you have completed all the chapters, and if you haven't started with this one, because I started it 6 days before the exam because I knew this would consume a lot of time as well. Also along with this, these things are very important, so I wanted to keep it my guru mantra formula that I'll just study it 2 to 3 days before the exam. I studied it 6 days before, and hopefully all the questions were easy, because after studying so many things in detail, you find most of the questions easy. So you can also try that if you want to study and keep it for long-term memory. If you feel you'll forget these things, it's normal. You can just study it 5 to 6 days before the exam. Coming on to the another chapter, that is air traffic services. Most of the things are for reading. One of the thing is very very important, that is classification and designation of ATS airspace in India. Guys, totally Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot and Golf, these are 7 in number, but I'll prefer that you include another airspaces as well. I know this is not written in this book, because I know in the revised edition some of the things have been added in the airspace table, so study it from that. And also along with this, notes are also given for different airspaces, but I'll recommend a table is given. Just study from this, because if you study from this as well, then you compare it with the table, then because in table it is very crisp and short, so I think that would be better. Just remember it from the table itself, and this will help you. So in this, probabilities there could be 1 to 2 questions of FIRs, and don't worry, these would not be some alien cities. These would be very popular cities like Delhi, Mumbai and all. Just remember that north, south, east, west, FIRs VA, VE, VO and VI. Okay, so this is done. Nextly, we have our restricted areas, military exercise and training areas. Guys, this is an important topic. In restricted areas and prohibited areas, know the difference between the two. All the examples, I mean all the important areas like Mathura refineries, Kolar mines and all, these things should be remembered. Okay, another important topic that is we have already covered in air navigation as well, codes, and I think in MET as well. Yeah, codes, that is the 7500, 600, 200, 7700. These are some topics that I really enjoyed reading, so these would be there again, and I know you'll crack it easily because we have already done it. Another important topic is alerting services. In alerting services, in SURFA, LSURFA and DITRESFA, all the 3 are really really important. Okay, in these, what is the time duration between which it is issued for what reasons, all the 3 are important. Remember all the 3 with their conditions, and this is an important topic. Okay, coming on to something very important, that is document 4444, that is the area control services. In this, when you'll open it, you'll somewhat face a situation like, oh god, it's too much, I'll forget the other things if I study this. It's not like that. Even if you feel, I know there are a lot of diagrams in this, that separation minimas, lateral and longitudinal. Just do one thing, if you're not going to read these things, you'll feel like I'll miss the other things. Leave it as it is. Just come to the last page of the chapter, that is simply the last page. Summary is given. Okay, summary of longitudinal separation. In this, all the things in a shorthand manner is written, and I think these are really beneficial for everyone who's not willing to study all the diagrams. Okay, don't go into detail, just study this summary one. Everything is written in crisp, it is covering everything, so just read this one page. Okay, next we come to a chapter that is procedures for aerodrome control service. It is also included in document 4444, Aeronautical Information Publication of India, but this is not that chapter which provides a lot of questions in the exam, except that we have priority rules in this chapter, that is which aircraft would be given more priority over the others. So approximately 10 points are there, and all of these are given in sequence, though it is very easily readable and you can just remember it. But you can, if you want to make that if you want to construct it in a mathematical way, then you can just that greater or less than sign could be used, because these things you can just make it in some manner which you can understand. And at the end of the day, no one is gonna ask you how did you remember these and all. It's okay, it's normal, we all do it. So just make it in a mathematical way, which one is greater, which one is lesser, and that would be very easy for you to remember. Okay, another important topic is coefficient of friction. The values are there, estimated friction, whether it is good or bad. But remember these things on RT calls, everything, whether it is communication and ground friction and all, everything is given in codes, that is 5 4 3 2 1. So you just need to reply in these codes. What does each code mean? Just remember these things for the exam point of view. And flying is something very different. Coming on to the next chapter, use of air traffic services surveillance system. See, honestly, I didn't enjoy this chapter much. I just wanted to complete it as soon as possible because there are so many things to be remembered in this. And after solving the questions, I found out that all the things, I made so many brackets, written so many things. These were not important. So coming to the straight point, in this chapter, ATIS is important. Definition, what does the ATIS provide you? What all information is there? ADSB, just for reading. ATS surveillance service, just for reading. Most of the things are just for reading, MBLAT and all. But after turning 4 to 5 pages, you'll find separation minimas again, in which a lot of numerical values are given, like minimum what is there, maximum what could be there, and termination of ATM service, where does it happen, all these things are given. So what you need to do, don't remember all these values, just solve questions, okay? Because in these kind of things, my trick was always there, like don't remember the whole values, okay? I tried to write so many things, I tried to remember it as well, but it's just very hard to remember all the things from all the chapters. So after solving questions, I just thought that I'll change my way of learning things, and I'll just go as per question wise. And my instructor also told me that solve numerical questions and all as per questions itself coming in the book. Don't remember all the things, just don't highlight everything in the paragraph. And I think at the end of the day that was beneficial for me, because it could save a lot of time. Another chapter that is really important as per ratification point of view, because NOTAMs, AREX and AIPs, these all things are important as per exam point of view. Just ratify it, mug it up, okay? It is Annexure 15, and remembering all the things is really important in this chapter. There's no way out, we have to learn it. Another chapter which was one of my favorites, that is Annexure 12, that is search and rescue. In this, what are the conditions, what are the provisions? It is not a big chapter, just 7 to 8 pages. And in this, along with the documents that we need to carry in our aircraft, we have to give certain signals to groundmen as well, like rocking the wings or making a circle, 360-degree circle. These all things are also given, and it's very easy to learn. Okay, now we come to signals. In signals, what does require assistant means on ground? Because don't confuse yourself in both the things, because two charts are given for people who can identify signals from ground and for us to identify the signals from ground. Okay, so these things are there, don't confuse yourselves, and it is a very pyara chapter. Another chapter that is very lengthy and just could be given 5 to 6 days before the exam. Visual aids for navigation, that is also Annexure 14. It also covers in Series B, Part 1, Standards and Licensing. Okay, in this, when you study this chapter, you will feel a lot of things that I have studied is just, what do you call it, vanishing from my brain. Because a lot of things are there, that to be remembered. And along with the instruments, we have our lightings as well, we have a pair of markings as well. So if you remember so many things, I'll just go sequence wise, just mark it, what is important, what is not. Landing direction indicator, it is important, just read it. Signal pal and signal area, it is important, but the height and the angle is not important. Don't consume time in this. Okay, in markings, we have runway designation marking is important, taxiway marking, taxiway center line marking, these things are important, but interruption of runway markings is not important. Okay, a lot of diagrams are also there for your understanding in this book, and there's no problem as such to read these things and understand. Runway centerline marking, threshold marking, I've already told. In threshold marking, is a table is also there of runway width and number of strips. I know this is somewhat big to remember, but yeah, we have to remember this table because 23 meter corresponds to how many strips and all. I have a trick as well, like in the number of strips, these are 4, 6, 8, 12 and 16, difference of 2, 2, 4, 4. So I just wrote 2, 2, 4, 4 according to that, and the other table I just learned. So just remember one of the numbers, that is 4, add 2, add 2, add 4, add 4, and the number of strips would be there. Okay, so in this VOR, aerodrome checkpoint marking is also important, along with apron safety lines, the color of apron safety lines. Road holding position marking is not important. Okay, mandatory instruction marking, name already suggests it is important. Okay, mandatory. Now we come to something that is very important as per regulations point of view. The first thing is this, most of the people would ask that are you done with your this topic, because this is really important and this is vast. This is lighting. Now in lighting we have different parts of lighting, that is including taxiway center line, threshold, before threshold, runway center line, at the end of the runway, important signs, all the things. Okay, in this it is considered, it is divided into 3 zones. Okay, lighting, when you read this you'll go further deep inside the subject and we'll get to know a lot of things. Emergency lighting is important, aeronautical beacon lighting is also important, approach lighting system is also important. Just read it once, okay, because these are just for reading. What you need to memorize it: runway centerline marking, runway taxiway lighting, colors and all. Okay, coming on to PAPI and APAPI lights, precision approach path indicator lighting system. It is important, and there was a question in my case as well, like 3 lights were red and 1 light was white. So what does it symbolize? Whether we are above the glide slope, we are on the runway, we are just below the glide slope, what does it mean? Okay, this is an important question. Now coming on to runway edge lights. After every topic just write the color of the light, okay, but for white write it with black because it would not be visible. I'm sorry for my poor jokes. Runway edge lights white, taxiway centerline lights blue or green, whatever. Remember it and write it just near the topic so that these could be remembered. There's no other way. Don't try to remember it here because this will mix up when you're solving the questions. Okay, so do it written and memorizing way only. At the end of the chapter we have visual aids for denoting obstacles, that is obstacle marking, what is the height of the obstacles and all. So these all things are there. What is the view from above, all the diagrams and all are also given. So just see it very carefully because diagrammatic could be there. Along with this, the taxiway marking, centerline marking, we have aerodrome beacons and ground maneuver vehicles as well. Okay, orange light, what is low intensity, what is high intensity, what is medium intensity. I know that this is a lot to remember, but we have to remember this. Now one table is there, that is aerodrome category, aeroplane overall length and aeroplane fuselage width. Okay, so this is an important table, but what did I do? I just memorized the aircraft category 1, its width, and aeroplane overall length. Okay, just first and last I remember only these things. So now we have something very very short and crisp, that is the takeoff run available, takeoff distance available. I called it TORA, TODA, ESTA, all these things. Okay, we studied this in our navigation as well, so we remember these things, and these could be asked in regulations as well, probabilities there. So coming on to the next chapter, that is the procedures for air navigation services. In this, one thing is important, that is the obstacle clearance by definition as well, by numerical values as well. So you gotta remember it really thoroughly, okay? And instrument departure procedures, only reading kind of things are there, and yeah, some angles are there like 15 degrees, 30 degrees. These are some important angles along with the definition and the significance of these angles, so do remember these values as well. Now in the departure procedures we also have our SIDS and STARS, that is standard instrument departures and standard terminal arrivals. Both the definitions along with the values and the route categories, these are important. Okay, the climb gradient is also very important, and procedure design gradient is also very important. just write in a bracket form near all the paragraphs, so that would be easy for you to remember. Now in this, at the end of the chapter, there's a topic that is basic GNSS receivers. In this, it is not important, it is just for reading. Also that diagram, a big circle, areas are divided, that is also not important, leave it as it is. Okay, so I made a disaster in one, question, because I got a question from categories of aeroplanes. I thought this is not important. I don't know why I thought so, but it was just kind of mixing out, because a lot of things were left to study and I was just panicking. My regulations score was also not good, but yeah, somehow I managed to pass. So that's why they asked me this question, that how many category, no actually the question was like which category of aeroplane lies in speed more than 219 knots, something like that. Okay, so I thought the last category would be there. I thought so. I was marking category E, but then I thought that only there are 4 categories only, and that's why I seriously thought there are four categories only. And yeah, I जानते हुए question गलत कर दिया मैंने. Now coming on to missed approach segment. In this we have initial phase, intermediate phase and final phase. A simple question was asked to me, like how many phases of missed approach are there. I thought initial phase is not there. I marked the wrong answer. Don't repeat the mistake. If you are feeling like initial phase के बारे में questions आएंगे, तो it is not like that. This is a subject in which ऊपर से भी question आ सकते हैं, and they can also ask too deep inside the subject. So read everything very carefully and just try to frame your own questions, like what could be asked more from this topic. That would really help you. Now another very important thing that was there in navigation as well, in MET as well, and now it is in regs as well, that is instrument approach or operations. And in this we have our CAT 1, 2 and 3, 3A, 3B, okay, and 3C. So in this, all the values of RVR, decision altitudes, decision heights and all these things needed to be remembered. Okay, these things are very important and they would be a direct question, and 100% one of these would be asked. So mark it with a blue star or something. Coming on to holding procedures, in this we have our definitions that you need to remember. Angle of bank, some I already told you, some angles are needed to be memorized, so just remember these things. And sector 1, 2 and 3 entries, parallel, teardrop shape, all these definitions. And if my sir actually made me practice one question of this, but there would be no numerical kind of thing. But if you wanna just remember for 70 degree, 110 degree roughly, then to remember these angles, and yeah, you'll be able to figure out which entry should be there. Another important thing is transponder operating procedures, in which squawk codes and all. You need to remember all the codes. We already discussed it, all the codes for hijack, communication failure and all. So do remember those things. Also along with this, mode A, mode S and mode C के बीच difference is also given in this. So do remember those things, and questions would be there like hijack is there. So which mode would be squawked, like 7500 mode A, 7500 mode C, 700 mode S, and simply 7500. So do mark these questions very carefully. These are a bit tricky. Okay. The important chapter that is vast is national laws, in which aircraft rules 1934, 1937 respectively were given. Do remember the dates. These are really important. A lot of things are given, like dropping of pamphlets and petals and all on certain occasions, and military aircraft, say cargo what do you call it military aircraft से cargo अगर drop होता है, so what are the rules and regulations that needed to be followed. Village area के ऊपर how many times can you go around, or what is the height you can maintain while going around and all. So these all things are given. Also national law. I think there's one more thing, noise abatement procedures are also there. So do remember these things very carefully, because these are all for ratification. No numerical thing is there, but in the end the theories also somewhere tend to confuse you. Okay, so in this, certain tables are also given, that is how many cabin crew are required for passengers according to numbers and all. And questions would be there from this, whether it is a number of cabin crew or fire extinguishers or megaphones. So do remember these tables, and one questions from each of the tables or one of the tables would be there. So now there's one chapter that is the Annexure 1 personal licensing. Okay, so in this it is very vast, and I would not recommend you to study the whole chapter if very few days are left, because this is vast, and this is of no use if you have very few days left, because this will consume a lot of time. Simply do one thing in this. This chapter is wholly covered in questions. Simply do the questions directly, tick it and remember it from there, and you'll be good to go. Trust me, this chapter does not require everything to be memorized, only the important things, the how many hours after you have flown you can continue across country and all, what is the age requirements, what is the education qualifications. So very basic questions would be there, and these all are covered in the question banks itself after the chapter, so just do that. So coming on to Annexure 6, that is the operational procedures. In this I'll tell you the things that are important. I told you already, first aid kits and oxygen supply according to absolute pressure level, that was in MET as well, like 700 hectopascal corresponds to how many feet, and similarly the flight level. Okay, so this thing is important. Also along with this, minimum fuel requirements is also important in operational procedures. Along with this, low visibility takeoff procedures and low visibility procedures, both of these things are also important, because a question was there, I don't remember the exact question, but one question was there of low visibility takeoff procedure in my paper. Okay, so in communication and navigation equipment requirements, just remember the emergency frequency, international distress frequency 1 to 1.5 megahertz. That is really important. It was there in navigation as well, and it is there in MET as well. Okay, now along with this very important topic, that is the I think most expected questions would be there if questions from this chapter comes, would be of FDTL, that is a flight duty time limitations. Difference between flight duty period and flight duty time is very important. Okay, when does it start, when does it end, what is the difference between the two? Along with this, duty periods, definitions, accommodation, acclimatization, after how many hours a person feels acclimatized to the place he or she is in. These questions are really important. And also along with this, definitions of split duty, break, just read these things once. Local day, local night is really important. When does it start, when does it end? Okay, night duty, when does it start, positioning, these all questions, definitions are really important. So maximum cumulative flight time and duty period limitations may 7 consecutive days, 365 consecutive days, these two are very popular questions, so do remember these things, the first and the last of the table. Also along with this, window circadian law definitions should be remembered. Along with this, unforeseen operational circumstances may how much can you extend your FDTL and FDP. Okay, these questions are direct questions, and for how many years records are kept, that is the 1.5 years. So these things, these values are important. Okay, so consequently we come to the other chapter, that is special operational procedures, that is a part of this operational procedures. The most important thing is this class of fires, that is the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta fires. If you have notes or something like that, then I wouldn't recommend you to rely on completely that, because RK volume and detailed explanation of each type of fire and what could be used to extinguish this is really given in a helpful manner. So studied from this only, class A, and one question, very popular question, class D fire mein which of the following would not be used. Okay, so just remember class D fire is caused by metals or electrics, all those things, and mark it accordingly. So another topic which sometimes confuse people a lot, that is the wake turbulence, that is based on time based as well, distance based as well. So in this, 2-3 things are given, 2-3 tables are given for arriving aircrafts on parallel track, aircrafts one after the other. So in this, I would recommend that what you do is just after the table, like it is a super jumbo and heavy aircraft ke liye hai. So what to do, just write S and H and write the time, that is 3. Moderate light, ML 2. Kind of these things, this short forms, because when you are flipping pages again, you will be it would be really easy for you to memorize these things. Okay, because a lot of tables are there, and based on longitudinal, that is time based as well, and distance based as well. Both of these tables would become a kind of burden for you to remember. So these things might help you. One more topic is there in this chapter, that is the dynamic hydroplaning, and this is really important as per definition. Just remember it, and this would be a direct question, a theory based question. Also, I would like to mention that if you are not willing to learn those tables and all, so in this chapter also it is not required to read the whole chapter, because there are 109 questions. Okay, the highest question till now, highest chapter that holds questions after human performance, I think. Sorry, human performance holds the maximum number of questions, but this chapter also. So in this 109 miss, I think 70 to 80 questions are there of another topic. The rest of the questions comprise wake turbulence questions. So if you're not willing to learn those things, then learn directly from questions. Okay, so now we come to something very interesting. I liked it, communication. Okay, so communication key definition, definitely you must have read in the first chapter and you know it as well. Now in this, a lot of tables are given, like actual question, answer or advice kind of. This is completely for RTR. Don't remember it, don't waste your time in it. It is also written on the first page, commonly used abbreviations specific to RT, radio telephony. Simply leave it, aircraft call sign, flight levels, headings, these all would be covered in RT, and these will be helpful in flying. So don't remember these things. Only you need to remember categories of messages, because I received a message for urgency, we use pan, mayday, what do we use? So these kind of things are important. Also, along with this, just leave the tables. Okay, leave the tables, don't waste your time on these, reading this, reduce your rate of speed, speak slower, stand by, what does these things mean? It is very simple questions would be there agar I bhi to, and you would know the answer definitely, because itne hard these all cover in RT. Okay, now read back and acknowledgement requirements is an important topic, because in this we have to specify the scale. According to me, 1 to 5 are there, and in this readability you have to answer unreadable, readable. This is also part of RT, but you have to mention the codes. In aviation, everything is based on codes, 1 to 5, 1 to 6. Okay, so this is an important thing which you need to remember. Rest, I honestly left this chapter afterwards, because it was just radar procedural phraseology. Phraseology is an all, I already told you, these are just part of RT. Okay, now let's combine some things of MET as well, because relevant weather information is also there. It comprises in communication. So METAR, SPECI, TREND, TAF and ROFORs are given. Basic examples, you are very clear with a MET, so you can crack it easily, and it would not be given to decode something, so don't worry. Now basic definition of wavelength, frequency, amplitude, these could be asked. Okay, this was covered in navigation as well in radio aids. This is just part of radio. And don't remember this table of band, frequency range, wavelength, demonetization. I honestly didn't read these things. I just left it as it is, and these were not important in my paper. Now one numerical could be there of finding the height of the transmitter or height of the receiver, range, the formula we used in navigation. Okay, the same formula could be asked, and also a simple numerical could be there to solve. That would be just mind calculations, because calculator is not allowed. Neither they'll give you a pen or something. So coming on to the next chapter, that is NX 13, car section 5, aircraft accident and incident. In this, what you need to do, a direct question would be there, like if an aircraft accident or incident happens in one place, then who is the first person who is responsible to be informed to? So this is a direct question would be which would be asked. Also, along with this, difference between incident and accident is really important. A certain situation would be given to you in questions, and you need to mention whether it is an accident or incident. So the next chapter, facilitation, just rectification wala chapter, very easy. Only definitions are there. Just read it once, and it would automatically be remembered. Next chapter, security, safeguarding international civil aviation against acts of unlawful interference. Most of these things are covered in the squawk codes and conventions. So this is a very small chapter of 3 pages. Just do the questions, and it would not require much time. Okay, so now the most important chapter that I did in the last 2 days, that is the human performance and limitations. This is a very vast chapter. Okay, 200 to 205 questions are there, I think. And in this, a lot of things that are very very extra are there, so I'll just make you mark the important things that you need to remember in this. The first 3 pages talks about percentage of gases, nitrogen and oxygen are important. Okay, also along with this, weight, sea level, air density and all, you must be remembering it, because we studied this in MET as well. Now important things start coming from the nervous system. Don't go deep inside that the peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous system, difference between the three. This is not a biological paper. These things wouldn't be asked. Okay, what you need to remember is this: the circulatory system, heart ki beats per minute, pulse rates, and hypertension ke causes. These things are some things that are really important as per biological view. Now coming on to the main things, that is due to an insufficiency of oxygen, what are diseases, what are the symptoms that we face in generally flying, that is hypoxia, hyperventilation and all, what are the causes, how can it be treated. These all things, I know these are very vast, but these things needed to be remembered, so just read it. The effect of alcohol and as well, BMI as well, carbon monoxide poisoning, these all things are needed to be remembered. Okay, there's a table also given: altitude, progressive decompression, how much time a person can sit. I would not say it is not important, just read it 2 to 3 times, because questions could be there from this. Now at the end of each of the symptom, a table is given: causes, symptoms and intermediate actions. If you don't want to read those paragraphs, then just read this table, it is sufficient in itself. So coming on to the eye, in eye I think simple questions would be there, like which is the screen, from where does light enter. The so severe complexive diseases of eye wouldn't be asked, so don't just consume time in that. In ear we have the audible range for humans, that is an important short question, so do remember it. Also deafness and presbycusis, I know these things are totally give a feel of doctor and all medical, but we need to remember it for the exam point of view. Okay, so in illusions we have visual illusions on approach. This is an important thing because shallow approaches and steep approaches both give different type of results, and these would be asked, like whether you if a person is doing shallow approaches, then what would he or she do, whether he'll overshoot the turn or undershoot the turn. So these questions would be there, so do study these things very carefully. Now disorientation or vertigo, in this air or motion sickness is important, the causes, all these things are important, and flicker effect and all, peripheral vision and all, these things are really important, so do read these things once. Now after this we come to an important topic, that is crew resource management. In these, definitions are really important. Along with this, what do you need to remember is developing motor programs, reaction time, concepts of sensation, stimuli and types of memory receptors and sensory memories. These things are not important. Okay, concepts of sensation you can just leave it as a whole, this is not important. Important thing is sensory memory for sight, that is the information processing model. Just go through it once and it's very easy, it could be remembered in one go. Okay, so one important thing is lack of attention, in which arousals are given: low arousal, medium arousal and high arousal. Both of all three are important as per exam point of view. What are the advantages, disadvantages, which one is best for pilots? Okay, these kind of questions would be there that could confuse you. Okay, so remember each line, read each line very carefully. Okay, so one other important topic is the circadian cycle or circle. This table is given, a table kind of, and all the times, that is high alertness is at which time. These all things are needed to be remembered. Okay, a direct question could be there. I know this is a bit important and this is a bit vast as well, but we need to remember all the times. Now sleep stages, I read it once, I left it also, some things in between, because I thought these are going too deep inside the stages of sleep. But I would not recommend to leave it, just study these things carefully, because sleep is such a topic in which stages of sleep could be asked, and questions from each stage could be put on. Coming on to the most important thing in unit performance, that is the shell model. Okay, in shell model, very basic, very easy, just read it once, it would be good to go. All those things that you shouldn't need to do, and by reading this actually you'll just feel like oh, we are getting so much into aviation that psychology affects so many things in our nature, in our personality, and you'll know what kind of psychometric questions could be asked by the airline interview or flying schools interview, because these kind of what you call it characteristics, they want to include in a pilot, they want to inculcate in a pilot that we need a person like this. So by reading this, you'll get to know so much more about aviation and what kind of people are required to be in aviation for a successful flight. Okay, so now we come to the end of the chapter. I thought there were 200 questions in this chapter. I'm really sorry. These are 110, that is the highest number of questions. I don't know why, because I was too obsessed with this subject, this chapter. I just thought that I'll lose marks just because of this, because I just read it 2 days before. So that's why, my bad. It's 110 questions, and that too, it's very, very, very large number of questions. So we have completed with all our chapters. Now we have sample question papers at the back. These are 5 to 6 sample papers, and trust me, all my batchmates who have given paper after me, they also told me that many questions were there from sample question papers. So do make sure that sometime approximately, if you're traveling from one place to another, then on way you solve these papers, because these will really help you. And yeah, you can really score good marks if you do this very meticulously. Now this was all about air regulations. What if I told you this is not enough? I'm really sorry. This is enough from this book. Okay, all the subjects, everything is covered in detail, but also along with this, MET and NAV is included. As I already told you, so many things that are covered in MET and NAV but are repeating itself in regs. But along with this, one more thing is there, that is the filed flight plan. This thing is also asked in regulations. Many people have already told me that there were questions from flight plan. In my case, it wasn't there, but 2-3 questions are very popular. DGCA's favorite question, that is the estimated elapsed time, estimated off block time, and what is there in box number 18 particularly is very important. Box number I don't know why flight time is written in UTC, and all these questions already came in navigation, but these are repeating itself in regs. So do make sure after doing all this, you go and give a look to the flight plans. These are really important. Okay, so don't miss that. Okay, so we are done with our air regs completely, but I want to tell that don't put yourself in that pan situation before exam. I know this is a very thick book, and at most of the times you'll be feeling like oh god, I haven't studied much about for this book. I haven't studied much about the subject. It happens because these are so many topics, and you can't revise everything 2 to 3 times in just 30 days. Okay, you can do it just once, because I felt it. I really thought that air regs is much more easier than air navigation. Trust me, air navigation was practical. Air regs completely is 80 to 90% theory. So these all things mix up, and you never know that how, at which point these are mixing. You'll think this is the perfect answer, I know it very clearly. After returning home, you'll realize that how can I mix those things that was here and here. So these all things are just experienced by you after giving the paper. I hope you don't experience any such thing, but it happens. So I would just tell that don't panic. It's very easy subject if you have studied well, if you know the concepts, if you know everything that is given as important in this book. Okay, so no one can stop you from getting good marks, getting passed in this exam. And remember, if you get good marks, it's really good for you. But DGCA and for becoming a pilot, for clearing CPL exams, you just need to pass. So don't rush for that perfect 100 number. Rush for just getting the best of knowledge and applying it at the right time in the most assertive and calm way. Okay, so this is the guru mantra, and with this we complete with our air regs. So do let me know after your exam what were the questions, so that could help more of the people, aspiring pilots who watch my channel. So that's why please tell me how was your exam, give me a feedback, and I would like to answer more of your questions. If you want me to make another video on air regs or any other subject that I want an explanation on what are the important topics, I'll just separate all the topics so we can make a short video on that also. So yeah, this was it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you like this vlog, and I hope this was helpful. So if you're new to my channel, then please subscribe it and press that bell icon. Also along with this, just one thing, keep flying.